Kingsway Podcast. All right, so something I was just thinking about was the idea of like most people, men and women included, right, seem to forget that humans, or at least they didn't get properly educated, that humans, without society, without all the technology and all the advancements we have basic functions, right? Men have their functions, and women have their functions, right? And the most fundamental thing about being human is eat, sleep, and reproduce. That's our main functions. That's what we are capable of, and that's what we mainly do. We mainly sleep, we mainly eat, and we mainly reproduce, right? To keep the human population going because we're not immortal, right? So that's why it's important for relationships, right? Women can't reproduce by themselves, and men can't reproduce by themselves. We need each other for that feature, that function. Also, when it comes to surviving, you have a better chance of surviving in on this planet, period, or any planet, if you're in a group, right? Strength in numbers, which is where the reproduction comes in, right? That's where the whole uh, relationship comes into play. This is why we have family, right? We have friends, we have communities, right? Society. That's why it's sad to see that in the communities, in some communities, the idea that men and women are essentially against each other when we literally exist and function for each other. There are some exceptions, of course. There's some groups of people that are different, right? They like the same sex, right, as opposed to the opposite, and the way they function is different because of you know their because of their interests, because of what makes them different. So, but that's for another topic. But the main thing is that it's really concerning that we have that the birth rate is decreasing. Not surprising, is decreasing, which makes no sense. Considering the fact is like when it comes to the idea of feminism, and we know that's a major part of the issues we're having in society right now. Um, Originally, the idea was of choice, was the idea to be able to do more than just the normal, right? So instead of women just, you know, only having the path of being a wife, a mother, or a single woman, aka slash cat lady, that was always a path, right? Um, they wanted another path, the career path, right? The quote unquote independent path, which didn't make no sense because it's like no one's really independent in a society. The only way you're independent is if you're on an island by yourself. Then you're independent, because you only depend on yourself. You don't depend on others, right? But if you're in a society, you depend on everyone in society for you to function. You depend on your boss. You depend on your coworkers. You depend on the cops and the mailman and the Uber drivers and the bus drivers and the stores, the people that work at Wawa when you get your coffee, your Starbucks and stuff like that. Like, we depend on one another. That's how society works. That's the whole point of society, is that we depend on each other for survival, for function, for building things together. Teamwork makes the dream work, and that's what a relationship is. Is two people coming together to literally create a team through biology, right, reproduction, and work with that team and build something. Generational wealth, uh, you know, uh, future traditions. That's nothing, creating traditions, like, because we're living in modern day times where we have technology. So being able to create new traditions that incorporate the technology, you know, would be important. Right now, we're like separating from one another, um, even in the same household. Like, I've literally seen it many times, people living in the same house acting like they're total strangers. It's bad enough that in a neighborhood, no one knows who the other person is. They see each other, but they don't interact. So people in the same neighborhood act like strangers, and then you got people in the same house act like strangers. It's even crazy when you see people in the same room acting like strangers. Like you'll have two people sharing a room together, and they'll act like strangers. And think about how weird that is. Like you're really, really close to one another, in the most closest way you could be, sharing a room together, yet y'all worlds apart, literally. And that's because of a mental thing. Y'all mentally separate yourselves from each other, even though y'all literally physically in the same location. So think about how weird that is. And that's part of the problem we see in society, where you have, you know, women talking about being independent. It's like, it's good that you have the ability to be independent, aka be a self-sufficient adult. Everybody's supposed to be able to be a self-sufficient adult. You're supposed to be able to function in society as an individual, right? And because you're functioning in society as an individual, you are collectively adding to society. You know, you're adding to the collectiveness of society functioning. But ultimately, at some point, you should want your own thing. You should want something that you're in charge of, something that you're part of. You don't necessarily have to be in charge, right? You could just be part of it and have somebody else be in charge. There's an old saying that I always like, which is, a great leader knows when to let a fool be in charge, right? But the thing is, the great leader has to take charge whenever the fool, you know, messes up. That's the other part. Some people sometimes forget about that expression, that a great leader knows when to let a fool be in charge. And it has different meanings. It's up to you to, you know, to see what you know, what you think about it, like what it means to you. A lot of times I use that concept of letting a fool be in charge is the idea that I'll let somebody else be in the leadership position, while I'll be secondary. I'll just be there as like an advisor. I'll just be there as, you know, I'll be there to give ideas and insights, and pretty much just be like a backseat driver, so to speak, where I give instructions on how things should be, but I'm not in the limelight, right? I'm not out here dealing with a lot of the issues that come with the decision. So basically, it's kind of like a human shield type thing, right? Where it's like I let somebody else, you know, be the face and get the attention for what I do. So if I make a decision, I relay it to that person relays it to everyone else, and then if those people don't like the decision, well, they'll look at that person instead of me for the decision. But my decisions are usually 90% accurate or good, awesome. Therefore, that situation tends to be less of a common occurrence. But at the same time, it's like I'd rather just not be in a position where I'm expected, where a lot is expected from me. I'd rather just walk around, live my life, and whenever I'm needed, I'll come, you know, to the rescue and provide solutions to problems, and then just go back to what I was doing. You know, that bit of freedom is nice. But anyway, society, you know, like the idea of this, like, we're supposed to be reproducing, right? We're supposed to be also raising the children, educating, you know, we definitely need to, as men, first and foremost, as men, as kings, right? We first and foremost, we gotta fix this whole Pookie and Ray Ray situation, you know, these simps situations. We gotta fix these you know, maybe daddy situations, you know, these fathers being pushed out of relationships. It's one thing if the guy decides he doesn't want to be in the relationship, he doesn't want to be in the kid's life. That is wrong, of course, right? So we definitely got to deal with that. But on average, I'll say 70% of situations where the father is not involved is because of the woman. And it's hard to tell women, well, not hard to tell, but it's hard to get them to agree, is what I mean to say, with the idea that they should do better to fix that. They don't want to fix it. It's like, okay, that's very immature, very childish mindset not to want to fix a problem, especially if you are part of the problem. Like if you're literally 70% of the problem, why wouldn't you try to fix it? But okay, you're 70% part of the problem. So it makes sense that the problem itself doesn't want to be fixed, right? So then we, since men definitely want this problem to be fixed, we have to make it. We have to fix it. And the irony is that a large majority of women want men to be the ones to fix it anyway. They'll be quick to blame men for why things are wrong, when we know in reality it's not really the men that's just the problem in a lot of these situations. But at the same time, they also want us to fix it. So they blame us for the problem, but they also want us to fix it. It's like, okay, I agree that we should fix it because we are the better suited gender to fix it. You know, we've been fixing things for thousands of years. We've been building things for thousands and thousands of years. So we're obviously not going to stop, right? Fixing things, building things. So we should be fixing and building things, building up communities. We need groups of men to start coming together, talking, about how to improve things and make decisions, make moves, put money together to do stuff, to fix things, to make things better, safer. Because the funny thing is, a lot of people know, especially men should know, that money solves problems. So getting a whole bunch of guys to come together and put money together to make things happen is the logical thing to do. So we definitely should be doing it. Definitely should be fixing stuff, making our neighborhoods safer. We should be the protectors of our neighborhoods. We shouldn't be relying on law enforcement to protect our neighborhoods, especially considering that we've been seeing that they've been slacking on that job, on that task. They instead act like we're prisoners and they're the guards. And that's not the way it's supposed to be, because that's not the situation. We're not, criminals, right? We're not prisoners, so they shouldn't be acting like we are. But that's shit we're seeing, so we gotta, again, like I said, we gotta fix it. We gotta make it where that's not the case. We gotta make it where we don't need the cops. Especially if they're not going to do their job right. We definitely don't need them. It's better that we take care of it ourselves. That's why it was interesting to hear a long time ago when I was younger, the idea of like, what's it called? Neighborhood watch and stuff like that. And that was kind of cool of a concept. It's like, oh, damn. Even the idea of a block captain, somebody who's like the go-to representative of a neighborhood is like, oh, that's cool. Didn't know that was a thing. That's pretty cool, because my neighborhood, we have a block captain. It was surprising to find out who the block captain was. Like, you're the block captain. Okay. I don't know what you do for the block, but okay. Considering the fact the block is not the best block that it could be. The area is good. It's just that the people that move around in the area don't exactly benefit the area. So that concerns me, that the block captain is not is more, they're more entitled, less of actual capacity. But anyway, the thing is, we definitely need better leadership, right? We need a better block captain, for example. We need people who definitely have free time, especially elderly men, for example, who are still in good shape, who retired and whatnot, who can pay attention, right? Because they'll be in the neighborhood more often than the younger guys, because the younger guys should be working, right? Going to school, going to job, work at a job and stuff like that, right? Functioning in society, building society, right? Improving society. So that's what the younger men should be doing. But the older men who did their job, right? Did their time in their youth, provided for society. Now it's time for them to, pass on the wisdom, oversee the neighborhoods, make sure people are safe, especially the women, the women and children. that's the thing. Is like it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be hearing that, women are being assaulted. Period. By men or women or animal, right? We shouldn't be hearing, oh, a dog attacked a little girl. It's like, oh, damn, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? Why did it happen? It shouldn't have happened. We definitely need to do better. Money management as well. Like, a neighborhood should definitely have some type of money management. There should be something where it's like, hey, we need everybody to pitch in, $20 or something per household so we can fix up the neighborhood or something like that. Like, I got money, you know what I mean? And I would like things to improve, so I have no problem putting money towards improving stuff because I know it will help. It will benefit me to do so, and it will benefit others. I'm not a selfish person, you know. Well, I meant to say I'm not an asshole, so I will pitch in and help, so everybody benefits. Because hey, there is something in it for me, so you can say I'm a little selfish, right? Because there is something in it for me. I get some benefits out of it as well. But the main thing is, as long as everybody else benefits, that is the most important thing for me. Is that everybody is doing better, and I was part of the better, right? So we got to have governments be at all levels. We have to have government at the bottom. And when I mean government, I mean governing. Like, we need leadership at the bottom, and we need leadership at the top, right? And so everything can run smoothly. Basically, like a manager and a supervisor, and then you got the boss, right? So that type of hierarchy, because we need accountability for a lot of things, right? We need accountability because we have very few accountability. That's why we're having a lot of issues. Most businesses are concerned with numbers and statistics and outcomes, that they don't care about what happens that caused that, right? They don't care that neighborhoods are falling apart because of consumerism, because too many people are spending more money on buying things than taking care of their house, their themselves, their health, right? Their neighborhood. So no surprise that their health is deteriorating, that their environment, like their homes and neighborhoods, are falling apart because ain't nobody putting effort into fixing these things, into taking care of these things. Same thing as a house and home, a relationship. Men and women are supposed to work together for a relationship to work. And the thing is, both people have to put in got to put in effort, not equal effort, not the same activity for the relationship. Your strength has to come in. For example, if I'm in a relationship with somebody and she is a better cook than me, then that would be what she contributes. She contributes to the relationship her better cooking skills. If I'm better at lifting heavy things, then that's what I contribute, right? What I contribute when she contributes doesn't have to be the same thing. It just has to be better than what the other person can provide. So since I can lift heavier things than her, me providing that strength is useful to the relationship. And her being a better cook, brings something useful to the relationship. Let's say she's better with money than me. Like, let's say I'm better at getting money, but she's better at using it. Okay, then I get it. She uses it, right? She be the one in charge of managing the budget, managing the finances, and I'll be in charge of getting the money, working overtime, right? Getting that extra money, finding ways to invest money. Like, maybe I find an opportunity where it's like, oh yeah, if I buy this truck, I can, make some money off of it. Like, all right, cool. And then I do that, get the truck, make money, bang. I'm able to get money. Because that's what I'm best at. And she's good at budgeting and managing the money and, making sure the money is used to get the most, right? She can get the most out of, she can stretch the money better than me. That's will be her position, right? Her job. Not everything we do has to be the same thing, like equal. No. You don't want equal. Equal is stupid. Equal doesn't equal things getting better, things being better. You always want somebody who is better, who can do more. You always want to be superior in something because that makes you valuable. If I'm better at raising children, for example, then that's what I would do, right? I'll be in charge of raising children if I'm the best at it. It makes no sense that I'm okay at it or I'm equal to somebody else at it, right? You want the best. For example, you want your doctor, like your doctor that you specifically are assigned to, your family doctor as they call it, right? You want your doctor to be the best doctor in the hospital, right? Would you want your doctor to be just like everyone else? Equal to every other doctor, so it makes them less special? That means any doctor would do for whatever medical issues you have? Nah. I want the best doctor in the hospital. I don't want the average doctor, the equal doctor. No, I want the best doctor. I want the best doctor they got. And I have no problem paying more money to make sure I have the best doctor, right? That's the thing. Just like you want the best mechanic, you want the best person to like fix your house, the best painter, the best, construction worker, the best everything. You want the best. You want the best, partner, right? You want the best woman or the best man that you can get. You should want the best. You shouldn't want average. You shouldn't want something equal to you. You always want something more than you, something better than you. You always want something that's an upgrade. That's why it's understandable that women always want men that are better than them in many, many aspects. That makes sense. That's logical, right? But that's why we gotta make sure that the men out here, are becoming better, right? They're becoming the kings that women want to be the queen to. So we can always point out, the flaws and the problems from the other side, from the other gender. It's like, okay, we get it. They're not perfect. That's the whole point. Women are not perfect. Men are not perfect. But we do have the capacity to improve and get better. And men, since we're more logical than emotional, it shouldn't be a surprise at all if we improve logically. If we just be the ones that be like, all right, let's us improve. We gotta make sure we at least improve, even if the women are not going to do better, improve. We at least gotta make sure we improve, and then hopefully that would inspire them. Lead by example, as they say. Hopefully that inspires them to be like, you know what, maybe we need to do better too. Because if the men are improving, getting better, then we need to. Because something that's ironic, if you think about it, most women nowadays, when they talk about feminism, right, which is the new way of thinking of feminism, they like to think of it as, just the idea of trying to be equal to a man, trying to be able to do what a man does. But if men are doing subpar, then, women are not really going to do more. Shouldn't be surprised if women are not doing better if on average, what they see is guys not doing better. So if guys ain't doing better, then they're not going to be motivated to do better, and they'll just be happy with and content with what they have. If we want women to do better, we got to do better, so that way it motivates them to do better, right? Especially if you notice there, a woman, right, shows interest in you, then you need to, make sure that your actions speak louder than your words, right? It's easy to say, she's doing something wrong and she should do better. You need to show it through actions, right? You need to show what the better way is, right? By you showing how to be respectful, how to make better decisions in life, she will eventually catch on. One of the two things is going to happen. Either she improves and gets on your level and starts trying to be more like you, or she won't make it, right? She won't be willing to stay around long enough because you're constantly improving and she's not, and she's going to realize that. And that's going to make her feel, right? Her feelings, right? It's going to make her feel some type of way, and then she'll be like, okay, I'm not good enough for this man. And that's the thing you definitely want to be. You want to be the type of guy that she's like, you know what, I'm not good enough for him. Because he's awesome, he's amazing, he's too good to be true, as they say, right? he's doing this, that, and the third. He's doing amazing things. She will realize her flaws more so than she already does. Think about it. Trust me, most women have low self-esteem because they compare themselves to so much with many other females and other people in general that they already believe that they're not good enough. Then there's the delusional ones where they're like, oh, I'm amazing, I'm a 10, I'm perfect, I'm an angel. But their actions and their lifestyles and their life decisions say a totally different story. So focus on actions versus words, right? Look at how a woman behaves and judge her based off of that. Don't judge her based off whatever she says, because she will always try to say things that make her sound better than she really is. And that also applies for men. Women, if you're dealing with men, make sure you pay attention to their actions, because their actions will always speak louder than their words. More reason why men need to, do better in general, not for women or because of women, but improve yourselves in general, because that will, in society, will be beneficial. It benefits society, it benefit you socially. So you need to be better just for the sake of being better, right? Upgrade yourself, inspire to be a king, right? The king's way, right? Inspire to be a king, inspire to be a leader, inspire to be a symbol, something, people can look up to. Not only women can look up to, but also, young men and women can look up to. As a male of the species, you definitely want to be a symbol of greatness, symbol of manliness, right? Masculinity, as they say, right? And you definitely need to make sure you show it, so that way the young men, the young guys, young boys, can see and aspire and work towards. Everybody needs a goal. Everybody needs a purpose. And, our function, our purpose is to eat, sleep, and reproduce. And those things, require effort, work. And if you want to be the best to ever have, if you want the best sleep, if you want the best food, if you want the best, reproductive activities, right? You got to put in the most effort to get the most out of those things, out of those functions that you need. Because just imagine if you didn't need to sleep or eat or even reproduce. What kind of life are you going to have? What kind of purpose are you going to have? Is your purpose going to be to sit on your ass every day playing video games and, doing nothing other than that? Not even having other interests? Sometimes some that I notice in society nowadays, modern women nowadays don't even realize how important it is for men to want women. Because the reason we have society, the reason we have technology and buildings and social medias and all these things, all these wonderful things that modern women enjoy and love and use, they exist because of men's natural, function for wanting women. Because guys are, it has been said many times, and it's true, it's a fact, that men are relatively simple. We prefer simplicity. We prefer things to be less complicated. We don't like the idea of chaos. Most women would disagree, think that we do love chaos and drama and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's incorrect. We do not. We typically prefer things to be simple and easier and straightforward. So if we had less things running through our minds, less things motivating us to do stuff, we would do less, right? What makes us get up and do things is these motivations, right? Our relationship with women motivates us, right? Our relationship with our friends, most guys have friends largely because it allows them to be closer to women, more so than they want friends. Most guys rather just not have friends, but the thing is that friends do have some benefits. One of them is is the social aspect. It gets you closer and gives you an excuse to be somewhere where there might be females, for example, right? Because I mean, I know this for a fact. Most guys know this, that a lot of times guys will go together to like a bar or something, or to a place together, and the mindset is to try to talk to females, and the guys will encourage each other and try to, give each other, courage, basically, right? Because we know rejection is going to be a thing. It's like there's no guarantee that a woman will like you, but we gotta give it a chance. We gotta give it a try. Basically, the animal version of this is essentially called the hunting party. So there'll be guys get together and they go out like a hunting party, and they're out there hunting ladies, right? In a positive capacity, of course, not in a predatory capacity. They're out here trying to get to know women, trying to find one that they have a lot in common with, and so forth and so forth. And that's where talking is important. And that's where, advice on how to approach a woman, how to talk to them, this and that. Obviously, that's harder to do nowadays than it used to be, because of a lot of the social issues we have, and a lot of women out here being extra picky, that they won't even give a guy the chance of at least talking and maybe be worthy of her attention, because of the conversation. She's just immediately like, nope, I'm judging you based off what I see, and I have options. I see a lot better guys than you on my Instagram, so bye-bye, don't talk to me. And that's unfortunate, because more likely, that guy that was approaching you is probably the best guy you ever have in your life, in a relationship, and you would have lived happily ever after with that guy, but you turned him down because you have options, because you compared him to other guys. And the irony is, those other guys are the guys who don't want you. You want them, but there's no guarantee they want you. That's why it's important to appreciate the guys who do approach you, right? Appreciate the guys who do tell you, that they like you and stuff like that, because that's actually supposed to be rare. It's rare for you to, for you to be fortunate enough to be in a situation where somebody comes up to you and be like, hey, I really like you. There's a lot of things about you that I see that I like. The way you laugh, the way you walk, the way you dress. The fact that somebody likes your existence, is supposed to be special. But the way it is nowadays in society, with women having, social media accounts, Instagram, for example, they're so used to a whole bunch of random guys, telling them they're perfect, they're beautiful, and all that stuff, that when a real sincere guy, a real authentic guy who would, be in a relationship with you for a long, long time, and would, care for you, protect you, all that good stuff that you should want in a relationship, he is being judged based off of those guys' actions. So if he acts in any shape, way, or form that reminds her of those guys from the internet, then you'll get shot down just because of that comparison. Not because you did something wrong, not because you're a bad person, no, just because of a bias, and that's unfortunate. One of the issues with women being on the internet, especially Instagram and whatnot, is that idea, is that their viewpoint of life is skewed and corrupted to believe that something is true when it's not. Right? You have a woman that's not ugly, but not a 10, obviously. Will think she's a 10 and walk around like she's a 10, and and she misses out on a lot of great opportunities because she's too busy thinking that she deserves more than she really does. And well, hopefully things get better, and the first step to things getting better is, men getting better, and not because, women want men to be better, or women are saying that men need to get better, or they need to solve problems, blah, blah, blah. No, it's just because it's just what we do. It's what we are. That's what makes a man, is because he's a problem solver. He is the best among the rest, right? What makes a man is not that he has a penis, it's not that he's born the male gender, it is that he becomes the man. He becomes a man. He becomes a symbol that every other male, right, looks up to, aspires to be. That's the thing of a man. A man is a title. You earn the title, right? You earn it. You're not a man just because you're old and you have a penis. Like, that's not how that works. A small criteria is being of the male gender, right? Because the opposite version of that is a woman, right? A woman is a title, right? A woman is the best among the females, and a man is the best among the males, right? So men and women, that's a higher rank above male and female, boys and girls, right? And then there's obviously some other ranks. There's mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, king, queen, that kind of stuff. So there's a hierarchy. There's a ranking system, and that's always existed and that always will exist because it makes sense. That's how you separate the boys from the men, and vice versa. The girls from the women. Real men want real women, but a lot of times most real men come across a lot of little girls, or I should say young females that aren't mature enough, that aren't women, and vice versa. There's women that get with boys, right? Guys who are not mature enough, manly enough, and then complain and say all men ain't shit, when the thing is like, it's true. Real men aren't shit. They're not the ones you're dating. Real men are the ones that women are avoiding. Real men are the ones that women want, or at least they say they want, but they don't even know what a real man is to even be able to tell the difference between a man and a boy. They think what makes a man is that he's the male gender and he's of an older age, and that's it. And that's the only criteria of a man being a man. And then proof that women don't know what a man is that nowadays they're trying to define what makes a man a man. They're like, oh, a man has to do this, that, and the third for me, and he has to do this, and he has to do that, he has to be like this, he has to be like that, blah, 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 and all these descriptions. Like, that's not a man. That's not a description of a man. That is not the description of a man. That sounds more like a sucker. That sounds more like you're trying to create something that doesn't exist and doesn't make sense. You're trying to create something that exists for the sole purpose of catering to you. Basically a genie, because most women, when they talk about what makes a man a real man, it basically describes a genie. A real man makes all my wishes come true. A real man makes my life easy. A real man does this. A real man does that. Does. And it's like, that sounds like your daddy. That's what it sounds like. Y'all ladies want daddies. Even so, to the point where you even hear women on the internet referring to guys as daddy. And it's like, y'all taking the daddy issue way too little. No, not too little. Y'all openly admitting that y'all have daddy issues instead of correcting it and fixing it. And these are the same type of women that'll complain about, they have trauma and they need therapy and blah, 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 and they're trying to fix themselves, but they're still out here calling grown-ass men, or grown-ass boys, I should say, mostly, daddy. Is like, no, don't call that immature guy over there daddy. Like, he's not your daddy. He's not even mature enough to be a father. He's still an immature little boy, so he's a fuck boy, as they say. That's why the term fuck boy exists. There's no such thing as fuck men, right? Unless you're saying it in a disrespectful way. Fuck man. Fuck men. Men ain't shit. Blah, blah. Fuck men. Fuck men. That's the only time you'll hear fuck men, right? Is in a negative context, right? As a disrespect to the male gender. Fuck boys is what women tend to chase after. Will and Jada are having issues because she wants a fuck boy instead of a real man. And then Will obviously has the potential to be a real man, but he is going down the wrong path and he's becoming beta. He's becoming weak and a simp. So he's de-evolving from being a man to not being a man. So we wish him the best, King's way, right? And that's the end of the podcast.